Thank you, Madam President Di Roberta, Mr. President Di Antonio, honorable members. President Costa has spoken on the topics we discussed, so allow me to build on this by zooming in on two areas which were the most prominent in the European Council. The first is geoeconomics and the second, defense and security. Honorable members, a year ago, in my political guidelines, I spoke of the need for Europe to build a true foreign economic policy. The seismic and disruptive shift in global economic relations in the last year has made that need all the more acute. But, as we all know, any foreign economic policy must start at home, because we first need to make our own economic and industrial base stronger and more resilient to shocks. And this is the work we are doing in four key areas. First, we need to make it easier for innovative companies to grow here in Europe. Our entrepreneurs, startups and scale-ups all lack access to the capital they need. And this is a handicap relative to all of their direct competitors. And this is why we need to speed up our work on the capital markets, build the Savings and Investment Union, deliver on our first ever startup and scale-up strategy. Second, we need to make Europe a better place to invest. 2 out of 3 European Union companies say that regulation is a key obstacle to investment. So we need to make it easier and faster for companies, speed and simplification. We spoke about this often here. And this is why we're working our omnibus proposals for those strategic sectors. We stick to our climate goals, to be very clear about that, but we make it easier to reach them. We are agile, flexible, and adaptable on the way towards the climate goals. My third point is we have to make doing business in Europe cheaper. Energy costs in particular continue to be a competitive disadvantage for our industry. And this is why it's so important we step up investment in grids, in interconnectors and in storage. That we fully implement our Affordable Energy Action Plan, and that we deliver on our commitment to phase out imports of Russian gas and oil by the end of 2027. It is time to turn off the tap and end the era of fossil fuels in Europe for good. So, capital, speed and simplify, energy costs down, the focus on the homework at home. Abroad, of course, we also have a lot of work to do. And let me turn to the United States. As you know, since February, the United States has imposed tariffs on 70% of total EU trade with the United States. The scale and the scope of these measures is unprecedented. So our line has to be very clear. We will be firm. We do prefer a negotiated solution. This is why we're working closely with the US administration to get an agreement. And I had a good exchange with President Trump earlier this week to help move things forward. We're looking for a reliable framework from which we can keep building our common trade. So the message is clear. We stick to our principles, we defend our interests, we continue the work in good faith, and we get ready for all scenarios. We will, of course, keep this House informed. Honourable members, the reason why we're working day and night to find a solution is because we believe tariffs are bad for business. And of course, we're not the only ones worldwide. Since the start of our new mandate, we already concluded new trade deals. You mentioned it, Antonio, with Mercosur, with Mexico, with Switzerland. We will work hard to finalize the deal with India by the end of the year. That would be an enormous opportunity, a huge market. And there will be more to come, because the world is looking for partners it can count on. And of course, Europe is such a partner. And for us, it is a key part for our foreign economic policy. And of course, a key part for our competitiveness. You mentioned the enormous market in Mercosur that is possible for our business and, of course, the consumers on both sides. These trade negotiations with these different countries can open immense new opportunities. So yes, this is the moment of risk for Europe, but it is also the moment of opportunities for Europe, and it is a moment to seize immediately by all of us. Let me turn to the second topic. Tonight, 728 drone attacks on Ukraine have taken place. It is the highest number in a day since the beginning of the war, 728 drones. And if we look at this battlefield, we see very clearly the war still rages on. The threat from Russia remains. And this is the reality we must always keep in mind when we discuss defense. We cannot rely on others to defend Europe. The defense of Europe is our responsibility. We all apprehend the urgency. We've made a huge step forward since the European Council in March, and thank you for the excellent cooperation on that one. We have set out our white paper, Readiness 2030. We have the Rearm Europe plan, which laid out the necessary tools to deliver on the surge of investment. And we have facilitated the investment of up to 800 billion euros in defense. So the surge in European defense spending that we need is now possible. 16 member states have already requested the activation of the national escape clause. So this allows a substantial increase of defense expenditure without triggering the excessive deficit procedure. On top of this comes SAFE with 150 billion euros in loans for joint procurement. 10 member states have already signaled their intention to take up loans. I expect more to join. And this is crucial because defense readiness is not only about how much we spend, but it's mostly about how we spend. And this is why the European Council has tasked us to work on a roadmap for readiness for the European Council in October, so short time frame. We will work with member states to map their capability gaps, that we have an overview, of course in close cooperation with NATO. We will identify the common European projects for joint procurement, the flagships, so that member states spend more on interoperability and more European. Because that makes more investment to stay in the European Union, to boost our own defense industry, and to have, of course, more research and development in our member states. That is not only good for security, it's good for security, but not only, but it is also good for creating good jobs here at home. So our defense industry must be enabled to consolidate, to scale up, to speed up. We expect a lot of them, that's hard work, and we should certainly not slow them down. Let me give one example of us slowing them down. To authorize the expansion of an already existing factory, defense factory, this can take over 1 year. And we're speaking about an already existing defense factory. And the permit can then be denied because of the size of the car park. That cannot be. And this is why 2 weeks ago we tabled the Defense Omnibus. This omnibus aims to simplify a number of European rules. It will fast-track permitting, it will simplify state aid, etc., etc. Now, the omnibus needs to be agreed in Parliament and Council, and time is of the essence, both because Russia is rearming fast, let's be very clear about that, and the more we wait, the more European investment will go abroad outside the European Union. Honourable members, to finish, I would like to stress that this investment is important for our member states, but it is also very important for our member states in the future, so the candidate countries. We're talking about our common security and our common prosperity. And this is, of course, particularly the case also for Ukraine. The speed, the cost effectiveness and the smartness of their defense production is impressive. And it started 3 years ago from scratch. There was nothing. It's amazing to see how much they built. But we also know that this highly capable defense industry is only operating at 60% of capacity. So that is our opportunity. Our member states can take the safe loans and procure directly in the Ukrainian defense industry. For our member states, it's top-notch quality, fast and cheap, so a big advantage for them. For Ukraine, it's both crucial revenues, but also an opportunity to strengthen its defense industrial base. Ukraine and the European Union stand together now. We will be together in the future with this House, with this Commission, and with all member states present and future. Long live Europe. Thank you.